From Royal Communications Incorporated, the present. Good afternoon. From Royal Communications Incorporated, listening. Good afternoon. Welcome to King's Newsroom for the 5 minutes of high-grade balance incredible news about Liberia and the rest of our one word. This Thursday, September 18, 2025. I'm Camille Johnson presenting the story top in the headlines. President Joseph Boakai suspends Deputy Minister Brian McGill this after intense pressure from civil society groups. But Liberia National Police requests forensic equipment to commence full investigation of McGill's rape allegations. Alternative National Congress political leader calls for stringent measures against drug importers. Alexander Cummings tells government to focus on anti-drug efforts to eradicate widespread of drug abuse in Liberia. Former ruling party CDC Secretary General Jefferson Koji accuses President Joseph Boakai of engaging in economic terrorism against opposition political figures and ordinary Liberians. Away from home, a former defense minister and vocal critic of Togo's government, Margaret Kanti, has been arrested according to security sources, and Mali military government has sought to calm anger over a blockade by Islamic militants on major highways where lorry drivers have been facing ambushes and arson attacks. The news bulletin, Voices of the Newsmakers, are all packaged in this edition of the program. We take a very short break. We'll be right back. Thanks for being there. Up next is the Bulletin of News with Sam Andrews.
President Joseph Parker has with immediate effect suspended the Deputy Minister for Youth Development at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Brian McGill, for allegedly raping a 14-year-old girl. A statement issued by the executive branch on Wednesday noted that the decision was taken in line with the government's zero tolerance policy toward all forms of sexual and gender based violence and to ensure a fair and transparent investigation. The action taken by the president comes amid mounting pressure from civil society organizations, including the Women Legislative Caucus of Liberia and the public against the alleged act of rape carried out by the official government. The statement further that Deputy Minister Brian McGill will remain suspended until the conclusion of the investigation. Meanwhile, the Liberia National Police said it has not detected any possible evidence to demand Brian McGill, the Deputy Minister of Youth Development, in connection with the alleged rape of the 14-year-old girl. Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman said the police does not have forensic equipment to investigate cases of such nature, and they are seeking the assistance of partners in order to conduct further investigation. Addressing the press conference in Monrovia Wednesday, IG Coleman emphasized that the police does not have to rush just to arrest anyone regarding rape when it has only 48 hours to obtain. According to the LMP boss, nobody is above the law, and if any evidence is found, Brian McGill will be arrested. The alternative National Congress political leader, Alexander Cummings, has issued a strong call to the government to focus its anti-drug efforts on targeting drug importers. He emphasized that tackling the source of illicit substance is crucial in addressing Liberia's growing drug crisis. Speaking Wednesday to a group of disadvantaged youth in West Point community, Alexander Cummings expressed deep concern over the devastating impact of drugs in Liberia, especially protecting the young people. He described the widespread use of drugs as a national tragedy that continues to ruin the future of many young people. He stressed that the situation demands urgent and uncompromising action from all sectors of society, especially the government. The Secretary General of the Opposition Congress for Democratic Change, Jefferson Koji, has accused President Joseph Boakai and Unity Party of engaging in what he described as economic terrorism against political opponents. In a statement on his official Facebook page, Jefferson Koji alleged that the Liberia Petroleum Refining Company under Amos Tuay is being used as a political weapon to undermine private sector operators. Mr. Koji accused Amos Tuay of breaching Article 1040 of the Constitution by securing a US $9 million loan from EcoBank without legislative approval. He also claimed that Amos Tuay violated the Public Procurement and Concession Commission Act by allowing FPRC to act as both regulator and importer of petroleum products, creating what he described as a conflict of interest that erodes transparency. The CDC Secretary General further criticized FPRC pricing policy, which reduces storage fees for private importers from US 10 0.35 to US 0.20 per gallon, while exempting FPRC owned imports. The Governance Commission has ended a day-long policy dialogue aimed at revitalizing and rewriting an inclusive and comprehensive history of Liberia. Speaking at the program, the acting chairperson or chairman of the commission, Professor Alari Toba, said there is a need to rewrite Liberian history that will reflect the spectrum of the Liberian society, ranging from the arrival of the first people on the land, now known as Liberia. According to Professor Alari Toba, Liberia has well-learned personalities to rewrite Liberian history, taking into account the struggle of the students, traditional contribution, progressives, the war, and the pre-colonial separation of the African continent. The Women's Advocacy Group, operating under the banner Liberian Women Against Rape and Gender-Based Violence, has criticized the Ministry of Justice for what they described as its failure to act on rape allegations involving Deputy Youth and Sports Minister Brian McGill. The group said it stands form part of a broader effort to advocate for justice for women and girls in Liberia and ensure that perpetrators of rape and gender-based violence are held accountable, regardless of their status or position. Over 5,000 citizens from Monserrate County have benefited from a free medical treatment provided by Care Incorporated. Citizens in 5 different locations, Painesville, Brewerville, Virginia, and other parts of the country, beneficiaries of the initiatives. Speaking to reporters, the founder of the Community Action for Reintegration and Empowerment, Conrad Bajwa, said the medical initiative is aimed at rendering assistance to the underprivileged. He revealed that the complexity of health issues in Liberia assuring of a collective solution. Mr. Bajwa assured citizens of advanced treatment for eyes, including cataract and other medical services, stressing the accessibility of medical supplies to Liberians. Criminal Court A has rescheduled the medical examination finding of 6 of the 14 defendants in the Hudson case to Wednesday, September 24th. The report, according to our judicial correspondent, was earlier scheduled for Thursday, September 18th, today, at Criminal Court A. The court Wednesday announced the new date through notices of assignment to the party lawyers of fall short of any reason for the extension. The local humanitarian organization, the Wampule Foundation, has extended support to 20 schools in Nima County through the distribution of school materials and scholarships. Speaking during the presentation at Soul Sally School in Toy River Education District, the foundation spokesperson Daniel Gator said the initiative aimed to ease the financial burden on parents, many of whom struggle to send their children to school. He said providing educational materials would significantly support parents' efforts in that part of Liberia. Mr. Gator also clarified that the initiative is politically neutral and stems from a childhood premise being fulfilled by the foundation CEO, Madam Fifi Gompole Dakana, who is currently based in the United States. Public defenders in the First Judicial Circuit of Masterado County is expected to return to the various magisterial courts soon after they were removed by former Chief Justice Shannon Yo. Chief Justice Yamingbese assured the defense counsel about their reappearance at the magisterial courts during a meeting with them on Tuesday at the Temple of Justice. And an officer of the Moravia City Corporation identified as Major Francis Johnson is facing serious accusations of persistently failing to provide financial and emotional support for his 13-year-old child despite the court order. Speaking to reporters in Moravia Wednesday, the child mother, Jumamu Nate, detailed a long history surrounding Major Johnson's involvement in the child's life.
Sam Andrews with the news bulletin. The news bulletin is a regular feature here on King's Newsroom. Indeed, if you just joined us, a reminder you are in tune to King's Newsroom for the 5 minutes of Aggravated Balance, incredible news about Liberia and the rest of our one war. One of our top stories, President Joseph Boyka suspends Deputy Youth Minister Brian McGill days after intense pressure from civil society groups. But Liberia National Police requests forensic equipment to commence full investigation of McGill's rape allegations. Let's now bring you voices of the newsmakers. Today's development now, the Liberia National Police says it has not detected any possible evidence to defend Brian McGill, Deputy Minister for Youth Development, in connection to the alleged rape of a 14-year-old girl. LMP Inspector General Gregory Coleman said the police force does not have forensic equipment to investigate cases of such nature, and as such is seeking the assistance of partners in order to conduct further investigation. Addressing the press conference held in Monrovia Wednesday, Connor Coleman emphasized that the police does not have to rush just to arrest anyone regarding rape when it has only 48 hours to detain.
This is the team of investigators that have been working on this particular case over the last few days. As you've seen around the table, this body has been working tirelessly since this allegation came about. So, what I would like to do, I would like to begin to walk us through the process as to how this delicate kind of and investigation carry out. So when we have a complaint of sexual abuse reported at the police station, we first and foremost refer the case to one of the six accredited medical facilities around Monrovia for an evaluation. It comes back to the police, and then the police review the report and begin the investigation from there. The investigation of that nature was immediately followed at the center. All these are all the steps that have been taken as far as this allegation is concerned. The report has come in. There is an indication that yes, indeed, the victim was temporary. So immediately, the Ministry of Gender and Social Protection, the Ministry of Justice, the prosecutors, and the National Police investigators are being going back and forth. Fortunately, this particular area CCTV camera, So the investigators are going on the scene to review the footage of the camera to try to corroborate the statement of the victim. We've spoken to the victim, we've spoken to the father, we've spoken to aunties, all of the persons of interest that have been named in the investigation, including the suspect. We've brought the suspect in for questioning. We've taken statements from him at different levels, and the investigation is still ongoing. Yesterday, the entire group, at first the police went there to review the footage. Yesterday, this entire party went in, reconstructed the crime scene, came back today for us to be. We've been here since this morning, going back and forth doing analysis, calling the victim back in to speak to her. So we've just picked up some new pieces of information from the victim that will require further investigation before on additional employees of the Ministry for Youth and Sport, including deputy ministers as well, to come in for us with them. We've prayed the court for a subpoena of the core log of the deputy minister who's being accused. That core log was a very important part of the investigation because the geospatial data analysis will now point us to placing him exactly to where the allegation is if substantiated.
Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman speaking. A women's advocacy group operating under the banner Liberian Women Against Rape and Gender-Based Violence has criticized the Ministry of Gender for what it describes as the ministry's failure to act on rape allegations involving Brian McGill, Deputy Minister for Youth Development at the Ministry of Youth Schools. The group said it stands from part of a broader effort to advocate for justice for women and girls in Liberia and to ensure that perpetrators of rape and gender-based violence are held accountable, regardless of their status or position in government. In the petition presented Wednesday at the Ministry of Gender, the women's group raised alarm over what it described as a growing wave of rape and domestic violence cases across Liberia. Reading the petition Wednesday at the Ministry of Gender, the group's spokesperson, Otto Kennedy, expressed frustration over the ministry's alleged silence of gender-based violence cases in the country.
We, the members of the Liberian Against Rape and Gender-Based Violence LWARO, GBV, a coalition of women, survivors, advocates, and concerned citizens, present this petition with heavy hearts, but with Liberia continues to experience a disturbing race, sexual and gender-based violence (SGBV), with women and girls bearing persistent reports of rape, less solutions, and physical violence against women and children, not only to destroy lives, but also undermine our national values of justice, dignity, and equality. From January to October 2024, Liberia recorded 2,759 cases of rape, with Maserado County alone, according to accounting for 1,902 cases, approximately 68.7%. These statistics were provided by the Gender Minister during the launch of the 16-day Advocates Against Gender-Based Violence campaign. Below are only few examples of many gender-based violence cases that demand urgent attention. One, Nova County. A 10-year-old school girl was sexually harassed by her teacher who concurred into sex after she failed an exam. Dr. Ajiefe Hospital has confirmed she will suffer long-term health circumstances from this assault. Internal Affairs Ministry abuse. In August 2024, the Internal Affairs Minister Francis S. Limne Senior publicly abused a poor Liberian woman who has sought employment. Since October 2024, there has been no official response from the Ministry of Gender or the government of Liberia. This silence raises concern about whether the ministry continues such calls. Now, 3, Babylon County. In August 2025, Ms. Kwaso Vambana, a 38-year-old mother of 5, was tortured and physically assaulted, along with her baby, in the ring by the order of traditional leaders because she did not participate in the town cleaning exercises. To date, there has been no update from the government of Liberia or the Ministry of Justice regarding this incident. 4. Deputy Minister J. Brian McGill case. We are briefly alarmed by the recent allegation of rape involving the Deputy Minister of Youth and Sport, Mr. J. Brian McGill. Despite the seriousness of these allegations, we have yet to hear any response from the government of Liberia or the Ministry of Gender. This case cannot, it must not be swept under the carpet.
Women Against Rape and Gender-Based Violence spokesperson Koto candidate has taken. Alternative National Congress political leader Alexander Cummings has issued a strong call to the Liberian government to focus its anti-drug efforts on targeting drug importers. He emphasized that tackling the source of illicit substances is crucial in addressing the country's growing drug crisis. Speaking Wednesday to a large group of disadvantaged youth in the Western community, Cummings expressed deep concern over the devastating impact of drugs on Liberia's young population.
I'm here today not as a political leader. I'm here because I'm a father, I'm a grandfather, I'm a uncle, and this issue has faced you, affects everyone, affects all of us in Nigeria. It is an emergency or a national emergency, and not because of it, but because it affects you and your life. And you know that this problem is problem of helplessness. This problem is like a poison. It's like a weapon of mass destruction that we have to stop because it is killing our young people. It is affecting your future. And that's why we care so much about it. As a father, as a grandfather, as a uncle, as a cousin, this thing is a big problem. And the government, although all of us have to help, but the government has to take the people because it's not the cost of the government has to do it. They have to go after the big fish, the big that are paying the cost of the country, right? That's what we're talking about. And women is going to go after the big fish. What they need to do is about it. So they can stop poisoning us. They can stop poisoning you. But then on the other side, it's like everybody can help. But the government has to take the lead, but without it. This is about making sure we provide the means to help us out the drugs. It's about trying to find drugs. It's about giving you skills, right? So you can see yourself, you can see your family, and you can get out of this drug business.
Political leader of the Alternative National Congress, Alexander Cummings. The Governance Commission has held a one-day policy dialogue aimed at revitalizing and rewriting an inclusive and comprehensive history of Liberia. Speaking at the program, marking the opening of the dialogue, the acting chairman of the commission, Professor Larry Topaz, said there is a need to rewrite Liberian history that will reflect the spectrum of the Liberian society, ranging from the arrival of the first people on the land now known as Liberia. According to Professor Topa, Liberia has well-learned personalities to rewrite Liberian history, taking into account of the struggle of the students' traditional contribution, progressive, the war, and the pre-colonial separation of the African continent.
As we reflect on the political, social, economic, and cultural history of our nation state, it will be important not only to acknowledge the trials of our past, but also the achievements that have shaped our democratic journey. In this pursuit, the role of our students and student leaders, past and present, and youth in struggle for progressive social change to be recorded. They have served as the torchbearers of innovation and accountability. In this pursuit, the memory of our traditional leaders should be remembered. They are the custodians of our rich cultural heritage and wisdom. We have long been a backbone of our communities. Religious institutions have guided the moral conscience of Liberia through turbulent times. Religious institutions have continued to serve as pillars of peace and ethical governance. They too will need to be remembered in the reconstruction of our national history. Let this dialogue be more than a reflection. It must be about recommitment. Recommitment to the story of the country, where history becomes an instrument of social justice, peace, and unity. Where history will build bridges, not walls. Let this dialogue be more than a reflection. It must be about recommitment. A recommitment to telling the story of a country, where history becomes an instrument for social justice, peace, and unity, where history will build bridges, not walls. We have come to the realization that Liberia needs to write her own story. We are firmly believe that Liberia can write her own story. We therefore call for the support and commitment of all for the completion of this national history project.
Remarking during the program, the chairman of the Center for Diaspora and Migration Studies at the University of Liberia, Professor William Allen, said about 5 million United States dollars will be required to rewrite Liberian history.
I want to recommit myself to this project. But those who have passed away, it is incumbent upon us here to fulfill the mission that they began. Historical consciousness requires that our actions are guided by lessons from the past. One of my favorite historians mentioned that, and I quote, misunderstanding of the present with an inevitable consequence of ignorance of the past. Thus, critical awareness of the past can be a potent tool in nation building. These were the assumptions of the Liberian National History Project that was initiated about 13 years ago. The Liberian National History Project was informed by the Vision 2020, an aspirational guideline for Liberia's development 2 decades later. So the challenge here for nation is to know these different identities through their national symbols, the flag, the constitution, the national anthem. If the history project picks up, and I hope it picks up, for a long time, the explanations has been given by people who were supposed to be authorities in these fields. But I think it's time that you have a new group with clear eye, look at the evidence, and it's important now because the evidence is there. Research now shows us that at least before 1000 BC, there were people in Liberia. Previously, we said that people told us that it was in the Christian era that the Crews and the Wolo and others began to come. But archaeological evidence just has shown that people were in Liberia by 2260 BC. So before 1822, there was a vast culture here, people with a way of life.
The chairman of the Center for Diaspora and Migration Studies at the University of Liberia, Professor William Allen, earlier listened to the acting chairman of the Governance Commission, Professor Alari Tukwa. The dialogue, which was held under the theme History of the Nation, a pathway to reconciliation, healing, and peace in Liberia, was praised by a large number of people, including scholars, heads of ministries and agencies, and representatives of higher institutions of learning in Liberia. Indeed, if you just joined us, a reminder you are in tune to King's Newsroom, 45 minutes of high-grade, balanced, incredible news about Liberia and the rest of our one world. Straight up in our headlines this afternoon, President Joseph Waka suspends Deputy Youth Minister Brian McGill days after intense pressure from civil society groups, with Liberia National Police request forensic equipment to commence full investigation of McGill's rape allegations. Alternative National Congress political leader calls for stringent measures against drug importers. Alexander Cummings tells government to focus on anti-drug efforts to eradicate widespread of drug abuse in Liberia. Former ruling party CDC Secretary General Jefferson Kochi accuses President Joseph Boakai of engaging in economic terrorism against opposition political figures and ordinary Liberians. Away from home, a former defense minister and vocal critic of Togo's government, Margaret Kankandi, has been arrested according to security sources, and Mali military government has sought to calm anger over a blockade by Islamic militants on major highways where lorry drivers have been facing ambushes and arson attacks. We take a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you more developments. Many thanks for being there and welcome back. Over 5,000 citizens in Westwater County have benefited from a free medical treatment provided by Care Incorporated. Citizens in five different locations, including Painesville, Burrillville, Virginia, and other parts of the country, were beneficiaries of the initiatives. Speaking to reporters, the founder of the Community Action for Reintegration and Empowerment, Kondra Bajwa, asserted that the medical initiative is aimed at rendering assistance to the underprivileged to review the complexities of health issues in Liberia, assuring of a collective solution. Bajwa assures citizens of advanced treatment for the eyes, including cataract surgery and other medical services, stressing the accessibility of medical supplies to Liberians.
I'm very glad to be here today and at the conclusion of our over a week-long mobile medical outreach across Montserrat County and its environs. It's been very, very impressive. The reception from the various communities across Montserrat County has been very, very overwhelming. It's been very, people have been very excited, knowing fully well that we can provide these services at no out-of-pocket uh, charge to our people. It's a step in the right direction, and our people are so excited. They're so grateful for all the services that Care Liberia, have been provided over the last week. We've been able to reach out to over 5,000 inhabitants across Montserrat County. And that has, our mobile clinic this year has improved as compared to last year. What we did, a little over 3,000 people. So every year we try to, make improvements. We try to work with new partners with different specialties to be able to affect the life of our people. Next year we are anticipating adding cataract surgeries, where we're going to do cataracts. In Liberia, we see a lot of people, coming down with cataracts. So we want to be able to, make that accessible for our people free of charge.
Also speaking, the research director of Care Incorporated, Paul Hetzatan, noted that there are numerous medical challenges confronting Liberians, including malaria, typhoid, and high blood pressure, among others, adding that the institution is asserted to render assistance equal for advanced medical efforts in reaching out to citizens in the rural parts of the country.
Yeah, we were happy to do the medical initiative to help the Liberian people. We know they have a hard time with malaria, typhoid, uh, blood sugar. So we were happy to come help them and help alleviate some of their pain. Oh, I love Liberian people. I lived here for 2 years. I was here during Ebola. So So I get to know the people. They're very friendly. They have good smiles, and I like to be around them and get to know them and have many friends here. While I was living here, I saw the need and opportunity to help people. I then met Conrad Barjura, got to know the work he was doing, so I decided to join his team and support him in his work.
For her part, the coordinator of Healthcare Smart Foundation, Kathy Ross, has reaffirmed her institution's commitment to dental hygiene education to Liberians. She stressed the need for more education, maintaining that it is the source of a healthy teeth. Madam Ross further lamented that the lack of electricity and health facilities in remote communities, turning it a serious impediment to the working of our dental units.
I am the coordinator for the Hershey Smiles Foundation, and I coordinate dental trips. And so this year, again, this is our third trip here. We are coordinating with CARE, with Conrad and Dr. Adolphus. So we are really happy to partner with them. They take very good care of my team. So they help us get our work done. I've taken dental teams to different other parts of the world. The teeth are very different here. You guys have really strong teeth. It really makes my dentist work hard just to extract one tooth. And so it's the dentists work really hard to, help relieve the pain for a lot of the people. Yes, usually when I bring a dental team into the country for the first I'd say 3 to 5 years, we're just extracting teeth. Later on in the years, we implement a lot of dental hygiene education, like teaching them that it is important to brush your teeth.
A local humanitarian organization, the Popular Foundation, has extended support to 20 schools in nearby county through the distribution of school materials and scholarships. Speaking during the presentation at the school's Sunday School in Twer, River Education District, the foundation's spokesperson, Daniel Gadet, said the initiative aims to ease the financial burden on parents, many of whom struggle to send their children to school. He emphasized that providing educational materials will significantly support parents' efforts in that part of Nimba. Gadet also clarified that the initiative is politically neutral and stems from a childhood promise fulfilled by the foundation CEO, Madam Fifi Kolupe Tukana, who is currently based in the United States.
Our CEO is in America. Her name is Queen Fifi Dekana. She was one of the people. She's from Bible. She started going to school in Bible. Later on, she left from there. She went Africa. God bless her. She went in America. But when she was very small, she has always had that thought. She was always been thinking that the day God bless me, I become a big person. I want to help my brothers and sisters. When I did myself for the same man, with the same power, but I want to help people. Even people I don't know, I want to help them. She don't be doing it, but then he had just been just single handed, she had just been doing it. So he told it for the three. She founded the organization called the Popular Foundation. She has been helping people. Last year she even did the bigger carry in Bible in your own hometown and other areas. But then this time she said she never was doing in her hometown. She will go almost across the mountain. So this year we together 20 schools into the director. We also help 4 persons. We get a scholarship to pay their registration fee. Yeah, you go your government school, you get the tuition, right? So your registration, your PTA fee, all the school wants to so we responsible to pay for 4 persons. Eh?
First of all, I want to thank the Popular family for the kind of donation they have brought to the school because those are some of the things we want to experience in Liberia because
An officer of the Monrovia City Corporation identified as Major Francis Johnson is facing serious accusation of persistently failing to provide financial and emotional support for his 13-year-old child despite a court order. Speaking to reporters in Monrovia Wednesday, the child's mother, Jemima Nanti, detailed the long history surrounding Major Johnson's involvement in their child's life. Nanti recounted that at the time of the child's birth, Major Johnson's late father was the sole source of assistance, stepping in to support her through the challenging early stages of motherhood.
2011, I had a pregnancy. He was working, and then God could have it. He had opportunity to go all the time. So when he went all the time, at that time I was in school. So I was with my mother. I gave birth. So his late father, started helping, showing concern. So we been only off and on, off and on. I spoke with half the child was like 2 to 3 years when he came back from all the time. And he came here, apologized to my people that we should let everything go. He was not here, he was not fine with him. So he took the labor to his big sister. He was so rest in peace. He carried the labor to his sister. The boy was there. But then he was not still fine with the boy. I went for the boy, I brought the boy back. When his father was living, his father was still showing his concern as a grandfather. In that, Johnson was still the same in and out, not happy. So I decided to just let everything go. My mother asked me, say, just let Johnson be because for now, Tina from you're two in school, Johnson not working for now. So the two of go our separate way. I moved. I stopped seeing Johnson the past 5 years. What about Johnson was inside here. One day, I was volunteering with the Morgan City Police as a city police officer. Sitting on the desk, I saw them fellow standing before me. Only to know the guy is my son.
She's the mother of a 13-year-old child. They're accusing an officer of the Monrovia City Corporation, identified as Major Francis Johnson, of persistent non-support. Away from home now, a former defense minister and vocal critic of Togo's government, Margaret Gandhi, has been arrested, according to security sources. Gandhi, the sister-in-law of a long-serving leader, Fanro Jazambi, recently called for his resignation and urged the military to stand with the people in ending decades of rule. And Mali military government has sought to calm anger over a blockade by Islamic militants on major highways where lorry drivers have been facing ambushes and arson attacks. In a rare acknowledgement of the seriousness of the situation affecting the landlocked country, Prime Minister Abdullah Maga said the authorities were trying to improve security on the routes. The blockade, a potentially serious escalation of Mali's long-running jihadist insurgency, is particularly affecting the supply of fuel, which could cripple the country. To end this news here again, our headlines. President Joseph Boakai suspended Deputy Youth Minister Brian McGill, this after intense pressure from civil society groups, but Liberia National Police requests forensic equipment to commence full investigation of McGill's rape allegations. Alternative National Congress political leader calls for stringent measures against drug importers. Elizana Cummings tells the government to focus on anti-drug efforts to eradicate the widespread of drug abuse in Liberia. Former ruling party CDC Secretary General Jefferson Koji accuses President Joseph Boakai of engaging in economic terrorism against opposition political figures and ordinary Liberians. Of the Home Front, former defense minister and vocal critic of Togo's government, Margaret Gandhi, has been arrested, according to security sources. And Mali military's government has sought to calm anger over a blockade by Islamic militants on major highways where lorry drivers have been facing ambushes and arson attacks. Many thanks to our contributors, editors, and reporters who help in making this edition of King's Newsroom our sources. For more news and information on the station, join us at 6 p.m. for another edition of King's Newsroom. Many thanks to Sam Andrews, who brought us our news bulletin. Thanks to Marvin Vire, who sat at control and produced the sound. On behalf of the entire team, my name is Cornelius Johnson. Many thanks for listening and watching. Good afternoon.